Hey there, my friend. You probably felt it too, right? That quiet tension that's been hanging in the air these past few weeks. Everyone's been talking about Micah Parsons' contract, throwing around rumors, guesses, and wild theories. But all this time, silence. Micah wasn't saying a word. And now, boom, he finally breaks that silence. And trust me, it wasn't just any message. It was loud, clear, and calculated. That one tweet hit harder than a sack on third down. And you know why? Because it didn't come out of nowhere. It came after days of chaos online. Speculations on YouTube, debates on Twitter, fans worried, fans hopeful, media scrambling to connect dots. Everybody had something to say, except for Micah. Until now. And let's be honest, you've probably been refreshing your feed like crazy, just hoping for a sign, a hint, a signal. Because when a star like Parsons speaks, especially after keeping quiet for so long, it means something. This isn't just another off-season headline. This is a statement from one of the most dominant players in the league. And every fan knows, when Micah talks, it's time to listen. So what makes this moment even more intense is that it's coming from a player who's not only a superstar, but someone who's been carrying this defense since day one. You and I both know he's not just asking for money, he's demanding respect. And that's what makes everything about this tweet so important. Because when your franchise cornerstone decides to speak, it's not just a message to the front office. It's a message to the whole league. And now I want to hear from you. Seriously. Do you think Micah should apply more public pressure on the Cowboys to speed up his contract negotiations? Go ahead and vote in the poll right now. Yes, no, still too early to tell. And drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious where you stand on this. But now that the silence is over, let's look deeper into the forces behind this contract battle. All right, now let's get into what's really driving this whole situation. Because behind every high-stakes contract talk, there's always more than just player versus team. And in Micah Parsons' case, there's a major player behind the scenes. His agent, David Mulugheta. If you've followed NFL negotiations over the years, that name should sound familiar. Mulugheta is known for pushing for massive deals. He's not just any agent. He's one of the most aggressive negotiators in the league. He's worked with stars like Jalen Ramsey and Deshaun Watson, and he's not the type to settle for anything less than top dollar. And now, he's standing behind Micah Parsons. That tells you a lot already, doesn't it? On the other side of the table, we've got the Cowboys front office, Jerry and Stephen Jones. You know their style. They play it slow. They like to stretch negotiations, play the long game, test patience. Sometimes it works. Other times, it backfires. Just look at how long it took to get Dak's deal done. You remember that? Drama, right? So here's the clash. An aggressive agent who wants elite money now versus a front office that's notorious for dragging its feet. And somewhere in the middle, you've got Micah. Or at least that's what we thought. Until that tweet. Because let's be honest, that message wasn't just about football. That was Micah making it clear. I stand with my agent. I know my worth. I'm not backing down. That's pressure. And it's not just for show. It's a calculated move in this negotiation chess match. Micah's letting everyone know, this isn't just business. This is personal. This is legacy. And he's not afraid to use his platform to turn up the heat. So let me throw this one your way. Do you trust Jerry and Stephen Jones to get this deal done the right way without dragging it out too long or lowballing a player like Parsons? Tell me in the comments. I'm really curious what you think about this front office strategy. And now, let's talk about something that caught a lot of fans off guard. Micah's sudden change in tone. What's really going on behind those words? Now here's where things start to shift. And if you've been following Micah Parsons closely over the past couple of seasons, you probably noticed it too. Not long ago, Micah had a very different message. Remember when he said he'd be willing to take less money to help the team stay competitive? That kind of loyalty struck a chord with fans. It sounded like he was one of those rare stars who cared more about winning rings than stacking dollars. And honestly, That made a lot of people love him even more. But now, things feel different, don't they? That recent tweet wasn't just a random post. It carried weight. It carried intention. That wasn't the tone of a guy still thinking about giving discounts for the greater good. That was a message that screamed, "I've waited long enough. It's time you pay me like the elite player I am." So what changed? That's the real question. Maybe Micah's tired of waiting while the front office plays games. Maybe he's watching other players around the league secure monster deals and wondering, why not me? Or maybe, and this is key, it's just part of a bigger negotiation strategy. Send a strong message publicly. Let your agent do the rest behind closed doors and put pressure on the team to respond. And let's not ignore the possibility of some internal frustration. You've seen how these things go in Dallas. Big names don't always get treated the way they should. At least, not without a fight. Micah might be realizing that early and trying to avoid a drawn-out saga. So now, the fan base is left wondering, was that earlier talk about discounts just idealism? Or has Micah simply realized that being a team player only works if the team values you back? Let me ask you straight up. Do you still believe Micah would take less money to help the Cowboys build a stronger roster? Or has that chapter closed for good? Drop your take in the comments. I want to hear what you think about this change in attitude. Now let's get into the next big question everyone's asking. Just how big could this contract really be? All right, now it's time to talk numbers. And I'm not just talking about a raise or a minor bump in salary. No, we're talking about a deal that could reshape the entire NFL market for defensive players. Let's start with the basics. A player like Micah Parsons doesn't come around often. He's not just a dominant linebacker. He's a game wrecker, a tone setter, a franchise cornerstone. So if the Cowboys want to keep him happy and locked in for the long haul, they're going to have to pay accordingly. Right now, the market for elite edge rushers sits around $30 to $35 million per year. But let's be honest, Parsons isn't just another edge rusher. If his team wants to keep him without risking drama or holdouts, the price tag could easily hit $40 million per year. That would be historic, and honestly, it's not out of the question. And here's where things get interesting. There's been talk that the Cowboys might consider a structure similar to Patrick Mahomes' contract. Remember that? A long-term deal, something like 5 to 7 years, with massive guaranteed money, but also designed in a way that helps manage the salary cap year to year. That kind of setup could be a win-win. The team gets cap flexibility, while Micah locks in long-term security and becomes one of the highest-paid defensive players in league history. Plus, think about the message that sends, not just to the locker room, but across the entire NFL. It tells players, if you ball out in Dallas, we take care of you. That could help the Cowboys attract more talent in free agency down the line. But there's always a trade-off. A contract that long and that big could limit the team's ability to adjust later. So it raises a tough question. Would you be on board with giving Parsons a record-breaking deal, something like 7 years, $280 million, knowing it might make future renegotiations tricky? Let me know in the comments, and let's put it to a vote. Would you support a 7-year mega deal for Parsons? Yes? No? Depends on structure. Because next, we're going to break down exactly what this means for the Cowboys' future, and how the front office is now officially on the clock. So here we are. After all the rumors, the speculation, and now that public message from Micah Parsons, there's no more hiding. The front office knows exactly where he stands. And let's be clear. Micah isn't just asking for a raise. He's asking to be valued at the level his play deserves. That tweet? It wasn't just a casual comment. It was a direct message to Jerry and Stephen Jones. I'm ready to stay, but don't lowball me. And honestly, can you blame him? Parsons has put everything on the line for this franchise. He's changed games, carried the defense, and stepped up as a vocal leader. Now he wants the commitment returned. He's not asking for special treatment. He's asking for, fairness, for respect, for recognition. Now it's up to the Cowboys. And let's not forget, we've seen this movie before. Big-time players left hanging in drawn-out negotiations. Remember DeMarcus Lawrence? Or even the long saga with Dak Prescott? Each time, the front office waited until the pressure reached boiling point. And fans were left wondering, why drag this out when you know he's the guy? This is a chance for the Cowboys to break that cycle, to act decisively, to show the locker room and the league that they've learned from the past. But if they hesitate again, if they try to play hardball with Micah, they risk sending the wrong message, not just to him, but to every player watching. That's why this moment matters more than ever. It's not just about a contract. It's about culture. It's about building trust. So I want to hear from you now. Do you think the Cowboys will lock in Micah Parsons before the season starts? Or are we headed for another contract soap opera? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's open the debate. Because one thing is certain, Parsons has spoken. Now it's the front office's turn to answer.